Since the law of attraction is very important for the creation of our life, I'd like to talk to you about this topic. In this article, I hope to answer all of your questions about this law. But first of all, let's talk about our essence. We are love, energy and particles of light in constant motion, that is, we are vibration. It's very important to be aware of this fact for the law of attraction. First of all, I'd like to emphasize that the mind isn't just a factory of thoughts, but the creator of our reality, literally. Second, it's necessary to understand that since thoughts are the basis of creation, they begin to influence us since we are born. And our childhood is the beginning of everything. Not to mention our past lives, but that's for another article. It's also useless to deny, saying, that we have no trauma or saying that we are physically, mentally and or emotionally perfect, because we aren't. In fact, nobody is. If people didn't have any kind of physical, mental and or emotional injury, everyone would be fully conscious, which is not the case. Continuing with the law of attraction. Thoughts create and influence everything in us, talking, acting, feeling, focusing, believing, and, finally, vibrating. Let's talk about each one individually. Let us begin with the influence of thought through words. We know that we don't always say what we feel or what we think, but still, speaking influences creation. Thinking makes us feel good or bad, which will always influence what we say, how we act and vibrate, consciously or unconsciously. When we express ourselves with negative words, we feel worse than we did before, and if we haven't felt bad so far, we will feel bad from now on. This feeling will create inactivity and or destructive actions. It will also make us vibrate negatively, thus attracting unpleasant situations. When we express ourselves with positive words, we create good feelings, which makes us act in a more constructive way. This attitude will make us feel better, soon will vibrate positively. In effect, will create more pleasant situations. Using words and silence at the right time is very important too. When we don't, we feel guilty for saying what we shouldn't say or for not saying what needed to be said. This imbalance creates low vibrations. And as Samuel and Water already said, it's as bad to speak when you must be silent, as it's to be silent when you must speak. What happens to us depends on our attitude towards life. If we have a negative attitude, we'll create our sadness, but if we have a positive attitude, we'll create our happiness. It all depends on ourselves. Now, let's talk about acting. In all situations, we can act for or against our intended results. Obviously, our thoughts will determine and influence our choice. For example, if we think we can do something, we'll do our best to achieve our goal. But if we think we can't do it, we don't give it our all or don't even try. With that attitude, we were already telling the universe that we have failed. When we act according to what we want to achieve, we feel capable. That feeling makes us vibrate positively. But when we act against it, we create conflicting feelings, and heavy energies. These bad feelings will make us vibrate negatively. As you can understand, action is very important if we want to achieve victory. As for feeling, I can tell you that it will determine our vibration directly. So, if we want to change it quickly, we need to change our feelings as soon as possible. The best way to change what we are feeling every moment is through thoughts and actions. It's important to have positive thoughts consciously, but that may not be enough. It's necessary to act, too, doing something we love to make us feel happy. Positive affirmations are very good, but if we don't take action to change our negative feelings at the right time, it won't be truly effective. As an example, let's imagine that someone is unhappy because he's alone and thinks that other people don't like him. To feel better, that person decides to go for a walk in a park that contains an exceptional nature. The moment he arrives at the park, he can do 3 different things. The first is to walk and continue with negative thoughts without paying any attention to his surroundings. This is certainly not going to help him change the way he feels. The second is to give up walking, sitting down and having positive thoughts about himself and people. His attention is non-nature and his mind wanders from positive to negative thoughts and vice versa. That way, the same thing will happen as in the previous case. The third and last step he can take is to walk, paying full attention to the surrounding nature. At that moment, thoughts about himself and people no longer exist. His attention is totally focused on the beauty, the air and the smell that exists around him. In this case, it's certainly possible to change his previous feelings to more positive ones. After this example, let's talk about focusing and other relevant details about the law of attraction. When I say that we need to change our negative thoughts, it doesn't mean that we need to create exactly opposite thoughts to those. It's worth remembering that the focus is very important in creation. After all, we create what we put our attention on. For example, if we think most of the time about what we don't have or lose, we will create more lack and loss. But if we focus on how grateful we are for what we have and want, even if we don't have it, we will create more feelings and situations of gratitude. The most important thing isn't the type of situation that brings us happiness, but the feeling itself. Still, I advise you to choose situations that only bring you positive feelings. Otherwise, you will allow negativity in your life. The power of choice is always yours. Now, let's talk about believing. We have beliefs rooted in our mind and some are already part of our consciousness, but most were created unconsciously. Most of them were conceived as false data, received and repeated throughout our lives. The most obvious example is the belief about money. For example, when we believe that money is only destined for the few, that it takes a lot of effort to reach it and that money is evil, financial abundance cannot materialize. That belief is telling the universe that money is limited, that person doesn't deserve it and that he needs to work hard, so he doesn't want that money to arrive. In this specific case, I'd like to talk about two misunderstandings. First of all, money is neither good nor bad, just like any other object. It all depends on what we do with it. And second, money is often called easy money, when it's stolen or acquired through crime. But is that really easy, money? Did you ever think it was designed like that to prevent people's financial prosperity? After all, if the population believes that easy money is only acquired through crime, they don't want it. At least, the vast majority. This is to be welcomed, as it demonstrates some awareness. But, on the other hand, it prevents the financial flow with ease, which is the natural state of the human being. Believing has a big influence on vibration and everything else. It's necessary to analyze the beliefs we have in order to unlock the various areas of our life. It's possible to change beliefs by repeating our thoughts, since this is how they are created, but all the steps, mentioned above, can change them in a more effective and efficient way. Finally, let's talk about vibrating. As you can see, everything has a great influence on our vibration. And it's with it that it attracts and creates everything around us. I can suggest 3 exercises to raise your vibration whenever necessary. The first exercise is through breathing. This is very simple indeed. You just need to breathe consciously and focus fully on your breathing. Thoughts cannot exist at that moment. The mind must be completely empty. The second exercise is as follows: lie down or sit down and focus only on your body and energy. Don't think about anything, just feel. Empty your mind. Feel your throb and vibration. To begin with, the easiest part of the body to feel is the palm of your hands, but you can focus on the part that is most useful to you or that you feel most deeply. So, continue as long as necessary. The most important thing is just to feel and not to think. The third and final exercise is to imagine what makes you happy, while focusing on that feeling. You can also imagine what you want to achieve and feel everything you'd feel at the moment achieved. The goal is to focus on these positive feelings and feel gratitude at the same time. That way, your vibration will reach a higher level, for sure. In conclusion, it's important to understand that the desired creation isn't made in just one day. Change is only possible if we create a daily habit of positive vibration. After all, negative habits have been ingrained within us for too long. I'd also like to point out that the formation of our reality isn't dependent on a single method. The expected creation results from the combination of several methods together, being executed in an organized and balanced way. Keep your patience and believe in your dreams. Imagining is to see. And if you see, it's because it exists. Believing and trusting is the only way. And you, do you apply the law of attraction and does it work?